Hey everyone, it's your favorite real estate agent in Las Vegas, Robert Steim, Keller Williams Realty, Steim Realty Network. Hey, April 26th, I wanted to recap this past week's numbers and talk about what's going on. So what we've been seeing, just a quick recap of everything. We're seeing that inventory still keeps going down a little bit each week. So we went down again this week. And then we saw the prices go up a little bit more. So the concern, I guess, that some people are having is the number of homes on the market is not rising, and that's putting a little bit of pressure on the prices of the homes to go up. But then with the interest rates being on the high side, kind of keeping buyers at bay also, which would normally put pressure on the prices to come down. So we're just trying to keep an eye on all that stuff and figure this stuff out here. So anyways, we'll dive into the numbers real quick. So we've got the active listings. We're down to 3,807. So that was down from 3,859. So we're down, 52 houses of inventory. That's down 1.4%. So again, that means less to pick from a buyer standpoint, less competition from a seller standpoint, and something we got to keep an eye on. We're down, well over 50% now, almost 54% from November 9th, where we had 8,223 properties. And looking at the average sales price, so we saw increases in both the average and the median sales price, and we jumped from 508 to 564. That's a huge jump from the average sales price, so that's over 10%. So I wanted to look into that a little bit, but also median sales price increase from 429 to 440, so that's up over 2.5%. All in all, that one's still in the ballpark of where we've been, but this 10% jump just had me interested, so I had to go look. And the last week we had several higher dollar $1 million homes that sold. So that's going to bring the average up. But we had one at 6.25, 5.15 million, 4.8 million, 4 million. In previous weeks, we, maybe had a couple 2 million and high ones, but we really didn't have those 6s and 5s and 4s mixed in there. So it was a pretty high dollar week. So I'm going to chalk that up, that 10%, to those higher end sales. Those probably aren't going to happen every single week. So again, the average price is the one that can get really affected by those higher end sales. The median sales price, to me, that one's more accurate, because if we look at all the sales that happen, we got all the high end, multi-million dollar houses and the lower priced ones. They're going to look at the one that's in the middle, and that's what our median sales price is. So going from 429 to 440, that's a little bit more manageable and makes sense with what we typically see week to week. So not freaking out about the price increase on that yet, but the inventory dropping and the pressure on prices actually going up is something to keep an eye on. The average days on the market has increased. So we kind of saw a dip last week. We dropped to 48 days on the market. We're at 56 days on average now. That's been bouncing back and forth a little bit. So just another thing to keep an eye on. Looking at the inventory, with that number dropping 3,807, and the number of sales was 418 this past week. So now we've got 9.1 weeks of inventory. That went up just a little bit. The 8.7 weeks was what it was before. And again, 6 months is what we consider the balance of a buyer's and a seller's market. At 9 weeks, we're a little bit over 2 months. So we're still, by definition, in a seller's market. But again, with the higher interest rate, sometimes the sellers are giving us some concessions and negotiating so that we are more likely to choose their home. And moving on to notice of default. So this is the other one. We had 82 this last week. That's actually the biggest number we've seen since the notice of default started to activate again. So we're at 770 total over the past 17 weeks, but 82 kind of setting the new high number for one given week. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. If that's a trend where that number keeps getting bigger and bigger, then eventually we're going to see more foreclosures, and that might be some inventory coming to the market at some point once they go through that. So normally a notice of default is filed, then some time passes, and then either the owner is able to rectify things or work something out, or the property goes to foreclosure and then ends up being sold by the bank. So we'll keep an eye on that. Properties under contract this week was 630 compared to 647, so that number's down slightly, about 2.6%. Properties that actually sold, so this actually went down a little bit from 442 last week to 418, so that's down a little over 5%. Again, week to week, things will fluctuate a little bit. But yeah, that's the numbers for now. Now the key factors driving the real estate market, what I'm keeping an eye on is still looking for new inventory to hit the market soon, hoping that people take advantage of the spring and summer selling season. We just haven't seen that uptick happen, and maybe it won't. But right this minute, I'm still optimistic that we'll see a little bit more coming one of these days. And then the new one to keep an eye on is this notice of defaults on the rise. That number getting bigger is a little bit concerning to me, of people losing their homes. But on the flip side, I guess that's inventory one way or the other that'll be on the market. And then interest rates continue to influence buyer activity. So we saw the interest rates tick up just a little tiny bit, but they've kind of been hovering in that mid 6 to 7 range. And we're hoping for some relief there to maybe trigger some buying activity. But as of right now, it's still kind of hovering in that same spot. And then, whether buyers start to accept this as the new normal as far as interest rates go. So if we see it start to float down, that's great, but it's really kind of been in this range for a while. And I think at some point people will get used to it and realize that they have to make a move for, job transfers or whatever their need might be. If the need is big enough, then they have to do something. Then you kind of have to come to terms with what the current market is. So with everything, the way we look at things is when the timing's right for you, we see what the market is, we deal with the circumstances, good or bad. We take the pros and the cons each time, come up with a strategy that works for our clients. From an inventory standpoint, I can tell you that everything that I have had listed is now under contract. So my inventory personally is actually out. So if you are aware of anybody who's interested in selling their home, definitely looking for some properties to market and see if we can't line up some buyers for that. So give me a call, give me a shout on email or text, or my cell phone there. All my information's there. And again, I appreciate you guys supporting our channel and liking and subscribing to our videos here. And if there's anything in particular you guys want to see, just drop a comment and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much.